The Arewa Consultative Forum, the Christian Association of Nigeria, Northern Elders Forum, and the Pan-Yoruba Sociocultural Organization, Afenifere, and the Pan-Niger Delta Forum have all called on the Department of State Security to arrest those they accuse of plotting to incite violence in the country instead of issuing security alarm. The groups were reacting to the alarm raised yesterday by the DSS over an alleged plot by some groups to incite violence in the country by exploiting the nation's fault line. A few weeks ago, the DSS had actually raised concerns. The agency warned such groups to desist from such evil plans or face the full wrath of the law. This one. How can we calm all of this down? DSS is issuing security alerts now. These ongoing conversations of violence. We want peace in Nigeria.
Certainly, everybody wants peace in Nigeria, and we need to, understand if we truly want this peace and deploy a sense of urgency, because when you look at it, there seems to be foot dragging wherever you look. Are we doing enough to even nip this in the bud? And when it does happen, do we bring perpetrators to book? These are some of the things we should look at. But on the alarm bells raised by the DSS, it is almost normal for security agencies across the world to warn of imminent threats to peace, security, and stability. Even in the U.S., you see how the FBI is constantly raising the alarm of imminent domestic terrorist threats. So it is almost normal for them to do this. But I absolutely also agree with the pan-sociocultural groups that the security agencies must do beyond raising these alarms to actually, arresting the so-called plotters and bringing them to book. If you raise these alarms, what do you do with the alarms you raise? Are you able to nip them in the bud? If yes, fantastic. If not, what do you do with them? But generally, this speaks to the level of frustration that we are facing concerning security. It is becoming so precarious that sitting governors are increasingly advocating for the legalization of the carrying of weapons by citizens. We've heard it from Governor Samuel Otom of Benue State before, who said responsible citizens should be given arms. Just yesterday, we heard Governor Darius Ishaku say all citizens should be allowed to carry AK-47. They should license and be carrying arms. So it is a precarious situation. It speaks to deteriorating security challenges. It's a slap on security agencies and those who have been entrusted with the responsibility to secure lives and property. So we have a crisis on our hand. What are we doing to ensure that we solve this crisis? I don't think for a lot of Nigerians we are seeing enough being done.
Dr. Abati?
Well, first, I think we're facing a difficult situation in the country. This is the second time within a short while that the Department of State Security would raise an alarm that some people are trying to foment violence in the country. The last time they did so, we had that situation in Oyo State, in Ondo State, which means that each time Peter Afunaya, Dr. Peter Afunaya, the spokesperson of the Department of State Security, comes forward to raise this alarm. Yes, it looks like the Department of State Security will seem to know what they are talking about. But the major point from the sociocultural groups, Afenifere and Pandef and others, is that, look, it's not enough for the Department of State Security to raise alarm. What is important is what they do about it. If they perceive a threat level in the country, the people expect them to pursue their constitutional mandate and secure lives and property. And it's not an assignment alone for the Department of State Security. It also requires synergy among the various security agencies. Security being one of the major objectives of the administration, and security being a major problem that is faced by Nigerians. So we expect more proactiveness, greater level of efficiency on the part of the security agencies. The Department of State Security cannot reduce itself to the level of a whistleblower, because that's not its constitutional mandate. Its constitutional mandate is to pursue intelligence and see how it can reduce threat to security in the country. A security agency acting as a vuvuzela, a whistleblower institution in itself should raise concern. But I guess the leaders of the Department of State Security are fully aware of what their constitutional mandate is. Now, the second leg of the analysis is how socio-cultural groups have been behaving with regard to security in the country. Now, yesterday, we cited the example of the Middle Belt Forum, of Afenifere, of the Ohanese Ndigbo, reacting harshly to the alert by the Northern Elders Forum, by Bashir Tofa, and certain other interest groups in the North about the profiling, the labeling, the victimization, the targeting of the Fulani ethnic stock in Nigeria. And, you know, the main response from them was that, look, Northern Elders Forum and Bashir Tofa and others were just engaging in scaremongering, and that nobody is targeting the Fulani, but we're targeting criminals. Well, those messages coming from the northern part of Nigeria, I think, as I said yesterday, we need to pay close attention to those signals, because those signals are very disturbing. After the Northern Elders Forum spoke, after the statement from Bashir Tofa yesterday, the governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, also issued a statement in which he made a point about the targeting of Fulani men across Nigeria and how that poses serious danger to Nigeria. Apart from Nasir El-Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State, Dr. Gumi, Dr. Sheikh Ahmed Gumi, led a group to go to Shinkafi Forest in Zamfara State, where in two different forests, he reportedly, I'm quoting Desert Herald now, met with two different groups of bandits in the forest. Yes, we were told he was preaching peace. He gave them copies of the Quran and all of that. But that, again, is a signal, because the people he was meeting with his group, he was supported by northern thoughts of leaders of thought, professors, academics, intelligent people, not motopath touts or political talks, serious-minded people. They went there and they engaged people they described as bandits and Fulani herdsmen. Now, I don't speak Fufude. I don't know whether the reporter from Desert Herald spoke Fufude. But look, this kind of ethnic connection is a major signal. And then you have in Taraba State, Darius Ishaku, the governor, when he was met by leaders from 15 local governments who came to complain about kidnapping and the killing of their people by herdsmen. The point he made is that we have reached a point in Nigeria whereby people should be allowed to carry AK-47. I don't know whether Governor Ishaku knows anything about weaponry, but AK-47, the Kalashnikov, I think is a semi-automatic weapon. Yes. So he's not recommending Dengon, which is allowed under the law, which we have even reviewed. Even in the United States, there is a big controversy over the legalization of access to weapons. In New Zealand, we saw the problem that it has caused. But we have reached a situation in Nigeria where, out of desperation, frustration, anxiety, you have a sitting governor recommending that every Nigerian should carry a gun. Mm-hmm. This kind of people in Nigeria, where we have mass psychosis, if you ask people to start carrying gun, there will be big problems. So we have ethnic tension, we have security issues, and that is why I think the original point made by the Northern Elders Forum is important, about the need for the government to douse tension, to make sure that all these non-state actors who are taking over security in the country are not allowed to do so. Okay.
Give peace a chance, let peace reign. That's our call here. We'll move, and that's all we can take on headlines. Take a short break. Welcome back. We got Rotso Dire. Rotso, how you doing? Let's go straight to it. Pop.
Fine. Fine, thank you. Yes, sharp. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning, Doctor. Good morning, Adesua. We kick off with insurance claims. We've been talking about the damage from the NSARS protest and also the amount of people, submitting claims for healthcare in 2020 with respect to the effect and the impact of the pandemic. So a cursory analysis done by Nairametrics Financial Advocates shows that we're looking at possibly claims exceeding 100 billion naira. They looked at about 8 of the largest listed insurance firms in Nigeria, although Custodian wasn't included. They haven't released their full year audited 2020 results yet, but they looked at unaudited results, and the feel that they're getting is that we're looking at about 100 billion or so for the year 2020. Premiums, so of course, with insurance companies, you've got premiums and you've got claims. So your premiums are what people pay on a monthly basis, whereby you get your insurance coverage and you're paying every month, whether it's for your automobile or your health or your home or whatever it is, or a business that is paying insurance premiums in order to protect their assets. Then you've got claims. When an actual unfortunate incident happens, you submit your claim to the insurance company, and then they, after investigation, pay out funds to cover that claim. So that's how they balance their books, and minus other technicalities, is basically premiums received versus claims paid out. So we're looking at an increase for 2020 in premiums projected to be about, if you look at the far right of the screen there for 2020, 164 billion naira in premiums received, which is an increase of 24% from 2019 of 132 billion. And that was very interesting considering the fact that the pandemic affected the cash flows of businesses and they had to engage in spending cuts spending cuts for projects that were not tied directly to revenue generation. Plus, we know we had layoffs and so on and so forth. So it's interesting, but you can also see claims, the blue part of the bar there, claims rising to 111.9 billion in 2020. Again, projected. These figures might change later on, but that's a 31% increase compared to 2019. Also, there's also a metric where you can look at claims, that is the blue bar, as a percentage of premiums, the orange bar, and that's up to 68% in 2020. Back in 2016, it was about 54%. So we're seeing this rise. But again, when the full figures come out, I think we might actually see higher figures. I think Fitch said we could look at 400 billion in total claims. So again, it's just a projection here to see exactly what the damage, again, combined between the aftermath of the NSARS protests and the increase in hospitalizations and claims for healthcare. So those two headwinds, we might see an increase. We'll talk about bonds. Let's move to the federal government savings bond. It's a retail bond that's offered by the federal government of Nigeria in the first week of every month. So the window closes tomorrow, Friday. Any individual that wants to invest in this bond, it's a minimum of 5,000 naira with multiples of 1,000 naira. But look at the interest rates in red there. The 2-year bond due 2023, that is 4.214%. The 3-year bond due 2024, 5.2. When these bonds, when did the federal government, I believe, introduced these in 2017 or 18? I mean, they were in double digits, 13, 14%. Now, with inflation at 15.5%, there's a negative real rate of return. If you look at the bottom of the screen there, you see coupon payment dates. Whatever you invest in, you get coupon payments in May 10th, August 10th, November 10th, and February 10th. So I actually just did a quick scenario on there. If we look at our next calculation of how this works out, essentially, if you can take a look at that, we have, so there it is. So the 2-year bond, 4.2% interest, inflation at 15.75. Your triple R there is your real rate of return. It's negative 11.54. You're subtracting your inflation from interest. Same thing with the 3-year bond. However, this is the thing, Adesua, Doctor, and Rufai. I can't continue to tell people, Nigerians, that because inflation is so high, they should now do what? You take your money and go and put it under a pillow or put it under your mattress. You got to invest in something, right? Not everybody can, afford to invest in US dollar securities because of the exchange rate. So it's a case of where you just have to invest in what is available, do some portfolio diversification, a little funds in stock markets, a little in fixed income, and you just hope that the central bank can get interest rates get inflation down and hopefully interest rates rise. So if you look at the scenario there at the bottom, if you put a sample, ₦1 million in each of those bonds at 4.2%, your return will be 42,000 naira. It is now broken down into those coupon payments that we saw in the previous slide on May 10th, August 10th, at the bottom there, May 10th, August 10th, November 10th, and February 10th. So it's a quarterly payment, and that your interest is now broken down into 4. Essentially, the point here is that this is just yet another example of the low interest rate environment, from T-bills to sovereign bonds to this retail bond. The interest rate environment is low, but at this point, you've got to put your money somewhere, so you might as well just write it out and see what happens.
Definitely. Well, Rotus, you are bringing this information a bit late. The deadline is tomorrow for subscription. So for some of us who may be interested, we have just 24 hours.
But Doctor, it actually opens every new month. There's a new bond offer. So every month, March, April, May, the first week of every month.
But this one is coming. We're being informed rather late, but in any case,
right.
That's a small point.
Right.
But the point I wanted to raise is when you look at, the announcement by the Debt Management Office, they're saying that you have to go through First Bank. Why one bank?
No. It's any broker.
I need some clarification.
There are a number of brokerage services across the country. Almost every brokerage service, every broker that is in the country, you can go through them to get the bond.
So their specific announcement of First Bank does not matter.
Yeah, maybe they were just announcing it to their customers. Just so each bank and each brokerage service is going to send out that on notification to everyone out there. So I got my notification from who I bank with and who I have my investment options with. So it's not limited to just one bank.
Thank you for that clarification. With regard to insurance, yes, well, I mean, that's to be expected. With the NSAS protests in Nigeria, with COVID-19, with businesses affected, lives and livelihood impacted, yes, there will be more claims. But how about the capacity of the insurance companies to pay those claims? Because it's not enough to just show the graph. Insurance companies always tell you no premium, no claim.
Right.
And if you default, it becomes a problem, which is something that has contributed to the skepticism of Nigerians about, insurance. And that's why, there is a move to see how we can deepen the insurance company. But I would like to ask you 2 questions. One, I think, was it December or thereabouts, the National Insurance Commission tried to recapitalize the insurance sector, moved, the basic minimum that you should have from 2 million to 5 billion, from 5 billion to 10 billion across various categories of insurance companies. I know that stakeholders went to court. Now, where are we with that? And is it a good idea, this recapitalization that is being proposed? Now, the House of Representatives also introduced what they call the insurance bill, industry bill of 2020. They've had a public hearing. Where are we with that? And what is the objective? Yes, they want to bring more Nigerians into the fold, but can they do that when we are also skeptical about insurance?
Fantastic questions, Doctor. Yeah, so the recapitalization exercise by NICOM is an effort to reduce the amount of players that are in this space. There are way too many insurance firms that are out there and really small firms. So they want, by raising that bar, the recapitalization exercise, they want to actually have mergers and acquisitions happen in the insurance space. By merging these companies will say, I can't reach that bar. I don't have the capacity to be able to reach that capitalization level. So I'll merge with another insurance company, a bigger firm. Together, we can now reach that and actually have more of a capacity to settle claims. So it's supposed to make the industry, consolidate. Now, it's been held up in court, as you said, and right now that's where we still are. There hasn't been any improvement on that. So the National Assembly with the insurance bill is exactly as you said. It is an effort to bring more Nigerians into the fold. But, Doctor, you essentially answered the question. What you said earlier about the skeptic nature of Nigerians due to, and it's no fault of their own. Some firms, it takes too long to settle claims, but hopefully, if that's improved upon, we'll have more insurance penetration. Okay,
more emerging conversations coming up as regards business. Michael Wilson joins us from London. We'll go for a quick break, then we'll come back. welcome back to the Morning Show right here on the Rise News channel. Let's go straight to it now. London, check. Michael, good morning, check.
Morning. Right, so calm returns then and all that GameStop stuff, volatility and the rest of it, that's sort of calmed and receded slightly. Traders' attention now back to the big topics of lockdowns, vaccination, as well as the US stimulus package. Not a lot actually going on as far as Asia data is concerned. Australia's trade balance rose. Exports held firm at 3%. That's an important indicator because it shows that whatever problems they're having with China at the moment, Australia remains in steady recovery. As far as Asia stocks are concerned, generally lots of momentum on Wall Street, S&P almost unchanged, Dow Jones up very, very slightly. So the Nikkei down about 0.5%, Kospi down about 1%, despite news that Apple is nearing a car production deal with Hyundai. I'll come on to that in a second. Profit taking in Hong Kong, basically, and the creation of now listen to this, a financial holding company to house Ant Financial could be weighing on sentiment. In other words, if it's actually being looked at as a financial holding company rather than a company of its own right, then there might be a stricter regulatory regime on it. So there we go. Then Apple Auto Car, after years of speculation that Apple is about to join in the auto business, it is said to be, and I do stress said to be, there's no confirmation about this, finalizing a deal with Hyundai Kia to manufacture an Apple branded car in West Point, Georgia, in the United States. So-called Apple car. It's being developed at the moment, but there are no guarantees that they will continue with Hyundai Kia. What Apple's, of course, looking for is a car manufacturer to partner with, because they don't do car manufacture. They think about it, but they don't actually do it. Personally, I'd much rather steer my own way. But there we go. Right, as far as Australia's concerned, Google has been talking to Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison. They had a very constructive meeting. Apparently, the bottom line is that Australia is saying if Google wants to publish local news, then it needs to pay for it. And if passed, the new media bargaining code would require digital platforms to pay local media outlets and publishers to link their content. If parties can't reach an agreement, a government-appointed panel will decide on the price. This is a very important story for the future of social media sites. You know, the thought is if the likes of Twitter can exclude the likes of President Trump, they're taking editorial decisions. As soon as you take editorial decisions, you cease participating in what we in the trade call journalism, and you start to actually curate your own content. Therefore, you need to pay for it, and you need to abide by publishing laws. So markets then generally focusing on whether or not the UK stimulus thing is actually moving along. A little bit, not a great deal. It seems stuck at the moment, but we'll see. There was quite a bit of data to move the markets around. European inflation higher. There's obviously that down to the VAT cut in Germany. Elsewhere, higher oil prices are up. Italy, here's a good one. So I've given up counting how many governments they've had there since the end of the Second World War, but they're going for Super Mario. He used to be EC president. Yeah, okay. Is that me done? Would you like to come in?
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Michael, please. Go ahead.
Mario Draghi, then. This is an interesting one, basically, because it's this kind of shift of, you know, the lines between politicians and finance ministers actually getting thinner and thinner. You know, we had ECB President Christine Lagarde, EC Vice President, both moving from key political positions to key economic positions, and it now looks set to reverse with Mario Draghi going the other way. The markets liked it in any case. Here, most attention will concentrate on the Bank of England decision later today about interest rates. They will remain unchanged, almost definitely at 0.1%. The QE target will remain at £875 billion. I think basically what we're looking at here is whether there'll be any talk about negative interest rates, I think the idea of those will be shelved, or the can will be kicked down the road for a bit longer. Nobody really wants them. Certainly the banking industry doesn't. There are people who say that they're good. They tend to work. Whether they'll work in the UK, I don't know. Too difficult to guess. Basically, the UK is also well ahead with its vaccination programme, so there'll be more reasons to buy sterling after the Bank of England meeting, I suspect. Oil, commodities, oil's rally powers on, basically. Fall in EIA crude inventories, OPEC pluses, the Joint Trade Council produced no surprises at all. Target next for both WTI and Brent is $60 a barrel, if you believe the technical indications of the chart. Gold is pretty soggy. Basically, all the attention we're looking at right now is for tomorrow and tomorrow's US jobs figures. The ADP number, which is private employment, smashed through estimates yesterday in the United States. We'll get the US weekly jobless figures, which I'll be talking to with Reuters later in the day. So non-farm payrolls look to be quite good. If that happens, then the week will finish on a positive note as far as the global markets are concerned.
All right, Michael, thank you so much for that great insight as always. Two quick questions. Number one will be about Super Mario, like you call him, Mario Draghi. This is not the first time Italy has had a Mario in charge as a technocrat. They had Mario Monti at a point. Now they're having Mario Draghi. What is Draghi going to do if he finally forms a government? The president, Sergio Mattarella, has told him to form a government. What is he going to do? How is he going to upskill the Italian economy battered by COVID-19? Secondly, I want you to explain to me this new structure a lot of companies are going to hold core structures as regards what is happening with Ant Financial in China.
So, sorry, I don't understand the question about China. Just repeat it to me again.
The hold core structure, like the holding company structure now that Ant Financial is trying to explore. Yeah.
So what China's trying to do is it wants to be seen to be promoting a company like Ant Financial. Now, Ant Financial is so big that it will overtake the capitalization of the People's Bank of China. So therefore, what China is doing is playing both sides. It's having a holding company which will contain Ant Financial and its ambitions, but Ant Financial is amazingly popular. Do you know why? Because people actually want to buy what it does. And that's something which is very, very difficult to get through to authoritarian regimes. It's difficult to say to them, look, the public actually want this, despite what you say. That's number one. The other question about Mario Draghi. All right. Have you ever been to Italy? You should go to Italy. It's a beautiful country. The food is fabulous. When you walk round it and you see how beautiful Italy is and what lovely people they are, you kind of say to yourself, is this a country which is going through a financial crisis? Because trust me, when you're there, it doesn't look like it. What Mario needs to do is just like the same thing with Greece, same thing with these sort of southern European countries. You need to get tax collection actually down and running properly. Once they collect taxes, once they disentangle themselves from the unofficial economy, and we're talking about organized crime and the mafia, yeah, absolutely fine. Until that actually happens, we'll be looking at somebody else in a year's time.
Well, I mean, the interesting thing about Mario Draghi is that he's an economist. He's been in the European Bank. He's been governor of the central bank also in Italy. But I want to ask you about something that is not about business. Yesterday on this program, we were talking about Captain Sir Thomas More. And again, in the newspapers in Britain today, there's a lot about him. A clap for Captain More and a statue for Captain Sir Thomas More, supported by the British Prime Minister. I would like to have your thoughts on that. And then secondly, Iran, something closer to what you like to comment on. Iran has been pushing the, pushing the envelope on its violation of the nuclear deal. And it's like testing the resolve of the United States. What are we likely to see in terms of reaction from the Biden administration beyond the State Department statement that they would like to go back to the deal?
Okay, so he's got some very. Well, let's do Biden first. I don't know the answer to your question. Is the bottom line, because nobody knows. I mean, yeah, you're right. They are pushing. They're nibbling, aren't they, at the United States? They're pushing a stick in the tiger to find out actually whether it's going to respond or not. A lot will depend on what Joe Biden actually does. I mean, that's something that the Democrats really need to understand, is the fact that actually international politics is quite a grown-up kind of thing. They can talk about green economies, they can talk about getting Americans back to work, but the fact of the matter is that the US is a superpower in the world, and it will need to work out how it actually deals with Iran. I can't say more than that because I simply don't know. As far as our hero is concerned, yes, I mean, there was a great, there are certain people in life that seem to seize what's going on, and he rose above the public image of what was actually happening here, and he raised millions of pounds in his own goodness. He tried very, very hard indeed. We needed a hero at the time, and we found one in him, and his death is greatly, is greatly mourned by us, of course, because he's been a hero figure. But countries need people like this to get some kind of community spirit, as we clapped for him last night. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Isn't it sad that you needed a hero in Great Britain, but it wasn't Boris Johnson, it was our Captain Tom Moore. But it's fine. All right, Michael, it's fine. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you for your time. For updates, we'll go for a quick break. I will come back for updates on COVID-19 with Alyssa Wamora. She does a fantastic job at this. All right, pleasure to have you back, Alyssa. Let's just go straight to it.
Thank you very much, Rufai. Well, according to the latest tally by the Johns Hopkins University, there have now been over 104.3 million cases of the coronavirus infections globally, and 2.2 million deaths. Here in Nigeria, the NCDC has confirmed 1,138 cases of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours here in Nigeria from 24 states and the Federal Capital Territory. Now, we do know that nations across Africa, including Nigeria, with limited cold chain storage and poor road and rail networks, are grappling with how to deliver COVID-19 vaccines that require ultra-low temperature storage. Well, one state in Nigeria has decided to deploy technology, and that's Kaduna State in northwest region of the country. Yesterday, the governor announced that a deal with medical delivery firm Zipline will allow drone shipment of COVID-19 vaccines without significant state investment in cold chain storage. Kaduna services are slated to begin in the second quarter with round-the-clock service from 3 distribution centers and 30 drones each. And still in Nigeria, in the nation's capital yesterday, the task force on enforcement of COVID-19 protocols stopped the Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund, the NSITF promotion examination, after it received concerns over violations of COVID-19 safety protocol. Now, the head of the team, Ikaro Acha, said that the NSITF failed to obtain the permits and failed to control the crowd. It was said that over 1,200 people were said to be sitting for the examination in the hall. And finally, a team of investigators working on behalf of the World Health Organization have visited a major virus research laboratory in China's central city of Wuhan, and is scheduled to meet a top virologist as they continue to seek clues to the origin of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, this particular institute has been at the center of a number of conspiracy theories, claiming a laboratory leak was the trigger for the first coronavirus outbreak at the end of 2019.
Well, 2 comments on the Nigerian stories. The Federal Capital Territory Task Force, it's good to see that COVID-19 task force in the Federal Capital Territory has been revived. I had referred to it previously on this program that at the peak of the first phase, we had that task force that was going to churches particularly. But now that task force is there, and I see Karu Atta, who used to work with me in the villa, is the leader of that task force at this time. 1 or 2 things. One, the president had already said, look, there are regulations. And he said there will be penalties for violations. So So this is a good demonstration of one particular state, well, if you can call the FCT a state, giving effect to the presidential directive. So I think that the fact that we have a task force in the Federal Capital Territory is a good development, and that task force is working. The second point is about the fact that that task force was invited by concerned persons inside the National Insurance Trust Fund itself, who were part of the exam. They were the ones that placed a phone call and said, look, management is organizing this exam, but it looks like nobody is observing any social distancing here. Can you please come to our rescue? And that's the point about the Presidential Task Force, making the point that, look, people should take responsibility. We would like to see more Nigerians take responsibility. If you find yourself in a situation whereby other people are trying to endanger your life, you have a responsibility to call for help. In this particular case, they called for help. And that particular promotional exam, we're told, is 2 years long overdue. In many of these agencies, promotion is discouraged, is frustrated, because management does not follow up as appropriate. And that's an abiding source of frustration for many civil servants, who will now later claim that they were not promoted, they didn't get a chance to be promoted because management did not organize the exam, or because they are from the different part of the country, or quota does not favor them. As for Kaduna State, yes, another good piece of news. The other day we were talking about the governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, getting solar-powered cold chain storage facilities for over 170 wards in Ekiti State. And we praised him. We said, yes, it's good to see a governor taking a proactive step. Now we have Governor Nasir El-Rufai also thinking ahead. In fact, in his own case, in a more innovative manner, he's trying to get drones with the collaboration of Zipline.
Yes.
And I think a Nigerian bank is also involved, Sterling Bank. That collaboration, I think, is welcome, because the thing is about access to the vaccine, getting it to the location. And Kaduna State has about 23 local governments. There are places that are hard to reach. So if you use zone, you deploy technology, it will help. I mean, we always talk about the help of technology. But the more important intervention that is being proposed by Governor Nasir El-Rufai is the announcement that he is going to empower primary health care centers. Because those primary health care centers will be very crucial to the delivery of vaccines, to whatever immunization or vaccination program that we launch. Now, the primary health care center program in Nigeria was even referred to most recently by Bill Gates when he had a major interview. And he was making the point that Nigeria needs to focus on primary health care facilities. So apart from the technological innovation of deploying drones, Governor Nasir El-Rufai, is on the right path by saying that he's going to focus on primary health care, because the majority of Nigerians are not the the urban people. The majority of our people are in the rural areas. And oftentimes in the conversation about COVID-19 and public health, we ignore them. We tend to overlook them. Yes. So as a strategy, I think this is encouraging. And I think that other states should follow the examples of Governor Fayemi of Ekiti State and Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State, who are talking about primary health care as a strategic focus in the COVID-19 pandemic strategy.
I mean, I'm really excited about what is happening as regards the push against COVID-19. I mean, it's exciting because in a country where a governor is saying don't take vaccines, you are seeing another governor being proactive, seeing them around that region of the country. A very big stark contrast. And somebody should, I'm sure they've told him off by now. I'm talking about the person that happens to be the youngest governor in the country. There goes the conversation about young people being in politics. You'll be amazed what is happening in this country. But most importantly for me, I want transparency in China as regards checking the origin of this virus in Wuhan. Because what I'm seeing is there's a lot of guarded, secrecy as regards this. The Chinese authorities are not releasing enough reports. They're only making those people see what they want to see, and which is very sad. We need to know the origin of this so that we can nip it in the bud. It's sad. This is beginning to spread. Portugal is on high alert. Countries, too, are on high alert. The travel industry has taken a beating. And it's time for all of us to be safe in this country. It has to be said. I keep insisting, Dr. Hekuazu, please, the result of the zero prevalence test, we want to see it so we know how COVID is prevalent. And please, we should do more to deepen data collection and numbers. I don't think the numbers I see every day by the end is a true reflection of people dying from COVID in this country. I think there are many cases that are not caught in those charts. And I think we should do more with data as regards this. And that's why I keep insisting on the zero prevalence test. Let's know where we are going in this country.
Indeed. And the NCDC only collates the numbers provided to it by the state government. So there's that gap there. And talking about the zero prevalence survey, we saw India release its own in Delhi yesterday, and we are told that Delhi is nearing herd immunity because it's shown that a lot of people have had COVID.
Yeah, and that has to be said.